All right, you guys, we're back and we're live. Welcome back. My zipper's all messed up. To our weekly live feed. As you're logging on, type into the chat. Tell me where you're from. Say hello. There we go. I was trying to zip up my hoodie. There we go. Got some funky hair going on tonight. Gotta love it. We got a lot to do tonight because I did not go on live last night. If you are logging on Instagram, we are also live on YouTube and Facebook. It is a better experience when you're on those platforms because you can see photos and videos and all the fun things. You got Chicago, Canada, another Canada. Look at that. You guys are both from Canada. The first two comments are from Canada right here. Love it. You're like in the same freaking place. Newfoundland, Canada. What's up? Look at that. That's so funny. Atlanta, Maryland, Newfoundlanders. I don't know how to pronounce it. Indianapolis, Ontario, Canada. We got a lot of Canadians here tonight. We're international. Love it. As you guys are getting logged on, if you haven't seen it already, we are launching our Backstage Pass membership website, like hard launch. We've got some people in it already, but we are officially launching it to all of you now. So that's what this, where is it? This QR code right here. That's what this is right here. Okay. You want to click on that QR code or the link in my description box here on YouTube. It is a free webinar, and we'll explain everything that you need to know when it comes to becoming a member of Backstage Pass. It's literally going to change the game when it comes to competing. Gonna change the game, like hands down. It's going to be like your own little community online, similar to like an Instagram or a Facebook, that kind of thing. We're going to have all the top coaches and programming and all sorts of fun stuff inside there. So you need to be a part of this webinar so you can get an idea of what it's all about and see why you have to be a part of it. It's just crazy. We've been working on this for a very, very long time. Like I said, we have a few people that are in it already. We have a good handful of people. But this is like the coming to all of you kind of thing. And it's just going to be really awesome. So we got Bronx, Utah, Alabama, Newfoundland. Okay, Newfoundland. I think it's Newfoundland. Did I say it right that time? Newfoundland. Whoa. So I'm on Instagram, and by doing that, it just made a whole bunch of fireworks go. I've never seen that before. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that. Fireworks. I don't know. I can't. I'm still getting over a cold. I can't laugh, you guys. Oh my God. Whew. Yeah, it's been a rough week. I appreciate y'all being patient with me this week. You know, typically I go live on Tuesdays. Newfoundland. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying, you guys. I can't laugh. So I started getting a head cold last week, and it's finally starting to get better. So I can talk, I can kind of breathe and all that kind of fun stuff. Had a fun trip to the ER this weekend, and we won't go into all of that, but I'm definitely better now. Obviously, I'm not 100%, obviously. So bear with me as I go through all this. My head is a little bit clogged still. I am not contagious. And actually, it was kind of funny because when I was in the ER, the doctor that I had was all about the bodybuilding stuff. It was actually really cool. Like, he's from New Hampshire, and he grew up around a bunch of bodybuilders, and he's been to the Olympia and all this kind of stuff. So it was actually a really cool experience being in the ER. I know that's funny, but yeah, it was funny just talking to him. Like I don't know how to explain it exactly, but you guys probably would understand this. Like, when you go to doctors and you tell them that you do this bodybuilding stuff, a lot of times they kind of blame any health problems or whatever on what you do. He was the exact opposite. He was like, "Oh, this is so cool." Like, he wanted to see all my videos and my pictures from competing and stuff. And it was like, it was actually a really fun experience in the ER, if that's possible, you know, as good as an ER experience can be. So it was cool. It's interesting when you meet people like that. So in the most random of places. But anyway, so we got a lot to cover tonight. Like I was saying before, scan the QR code if you are interested in this Backstage Pass, because it is huge. The webinar is free. I will be taking you through it and telling you exactly what it is. You just got to be there. That's all. So we're going to go through the shows from this past weekend, and we're going to go into the shows for this coming weekend. The reason why I decided we could do this in one shot is because a lot of the competitors that competed last weekend are competing again this coming weekend. So we don't need to really reinstate them again. Sometimes we do these and they're kind of saying the same thing over again. So we're going to talk about the results from this last weekend. I did see some videos. I saw some, live streams, things like that too. So we're going to talk about Optimum first. Let me make sure I got that up. This is Miami. This is Optimum. Okie doke. There we go. All right. So Optimum, no surprise, Ashley Kaltwasser walked away with this. We pretty much knew that was going to happen, like it is what it is. So we're going to go through the top 5 and talk a little bit about them, what they look like, all that kind of fun stuff. But as you can see, this was not a deep lineup. It was only nine girls deep. So to be honest, outside of the top 5, I didn't really look. I don't really know what everybody looked like, to be perfectly frank with you. But it was a small lineup. Probably this was the shock to me, with Alesia being in 5th. Knowing that Alesia is a previous Olympian. She's been on the Olympia stage, I think 4 times at this point. But looking at her photos, she's too muscular. Just at the end of the day, like her shape, I'm not really sure what is going on with this front pose. This is not her typical front pose. She's just looking really straight up and down. Not really sure why she's doing this front pose, to be perfectly honest with you. She is fuller. We mentioned this about her package from Pittsburgh. She's filled out her muscle, but in doing so, she almost looks like she's in the wrong division now, right? It looks like she's got too much muscle. I mentioned this last week. Maybe she should try figure. She's got chunky abs, and I don't mean chunky as in fat. I mean chunky like blocky. They don't want to see that in bikini. She's got very defined 6-pack going on. To me, the muscularity is just too much for bikini. Waistline isn't really popping to me in this pose, and I went through a bunch of her poses here, and she did the same thing in all of her front poses. So I'm not really sure what's going on, to be honest with you. I don't know what her feedback was at all. But let's take a look at her back pose. So here's her back pose. Again, just very overall, just very muscular, very dense. I think she was trying to open up her back a little bit in this pose, but in the process made her arms look kind of thin. We don't see a whole lot of delt from the back. It looks like her back is actually pinched up in the back. Calves are really, really lean. Hamstrings are lean. Again, she's fuller than she typically is. She's not quite as hard, but she's just got so much density here. I'm not really sure. What she's planning on doing. This hair look is very messy too. The extensions are just not cut very well, or they're just not put in very well. Maybe if they're clip-in extensions. I don't think she typically has clip-in extensions, but that's what this looks like to me. It looks like clip-in extensions, and it just looks like they weren't installed very well. I'm not really sure. It's just a very choppy looking cut, and to me, it's really distracting. So I really, to be honest, I just don't think she fits bikini. I just don't. I'd like to see what she looks like in some figure poses. Try giving her a lat spread. She's from the front. She looks like she's got a pretty decent lat spread. I think she's got the density to do figure. I really do. As far as size is concerned, she may not be the biggest competitor, But if she can get good shape going, I mean, maybe she should try that. Maybe she should try moving up. I just don't see it here. I don't know. You guys can kind of say what you think too. Excuse me. But to me, this is I think she's doing what she's supposed to do as far as fill her frame out and fill out her muscle. But in doing so, we're kind of seeing that she's got too much. She's got too much muscle. And again, it's that density, it's that quality of muscle. It's not that round, full pop of muscle that we see from Bikini. So I don't know. Being her with her history and her, past placings in the sport, I would have expected to see her much higher than 5th place here, But when you look at her physique, you can see why she wasn't. You can see clearly why she wasn't. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is there, but that was probably, for me, the biggest shock of the show as far as placings are concerned. Next up, we had Steph. I assumed was going to be in the top 4 or 5, which she was. This was a better package than what she had at Wasatch. Let's pull this up. She's got really great shape as far as her waistline's very, very tight. Not a fan of putting the hair in front of her shoulder like that. I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was planned, but I would have pulled it off. She's already lower body dominant. So when you pull that hair in front, it actually makes her upper body look a little smaller. Maybe they were trying to do this. Maybe they thought that her shoulders were too dense or something like that. That's a possibility. But I think in order to balance her frame, I think she needs to pull the hair off. To me, the suit top looks like it doesn't fit her quite right either. It looks like it's too long on her. And it's almost like I'm scared she's going to fall out of the center part of it. As far as her conditioning, she does need to still come down a little bit in that lower half of her body. She's just thicker through the legs and through the calves and things like that in comparison to her upper body. I would say that's probably where she needs to improve the most, is probably just trying to figure out this conditioning on the lower half. It's kind of the same concept of what we talked about with Vanya for so many years. Vanya was always would always come in really tight on her upper half, and her lower half was always her issue as far as getting her conditioning in on point. And that's what I'm seeing here. Like, I feel like it's the same kind of look. Like I said, it's definitely better than Wasatch. She's definitely better shaped. She's better conditioned. She's in better shape in general. And then when we get her to the back pose, I don't think this is the best back pose for her. I don't know exactly what to tweak, but I just feel like this is just kind of here. I think she's got better glutes than what she's showing. I'm thinking maybe they did this to try to downplay her legs, like we talked about. Her legs were kind of overpowering that front pose as far as being a little bit too big. Maybe they're doing this back pose to try to minimize her legs. Perhaps that's why they're doing it. But I just don't think it's the right back pose for her. I think she actually looks better than what she's showing here. So I'd like to see her tweak this back pose a bit. Also with the hair, again, putting all the hair on the back. By not putting all the hair on the back, we're seeing, the back pinching out and things like that. I would also run a brush through the hair, break up those curls, just fill that area out up in the back there. I think the hair is a little distracting to me. I'm not going to cover wellness. I just don't have enough time to do everything. And Chenqi was the one that won wellness, and she was what, 3rd in New York. So yeah, no, I'm not going to cover wellness, but I will say that congratulations to Chenqi. But I will say I was not a fan of her suit. She looked like she was going to fall out of her suit. I remember that specifically. But anyway, so yeah, I guess with Steph, I would just say to still work on the posing, still work on the conditioning, still work on the balance from top to bottom. Again, it's a better package. She's definitely tighter here than she was in Wasatch, so that she's going in the right direction. But there's just a lot of little things that I think if she fixed in her presentation specifically would really help her overall look. Let's go to Luciana. I would say Luciana. So Luciana was also top 5 in New York. My critiques for her in New York are basically the same as what we're seeing here. She's got a good shape, but she needs some help, again, on the presentation aspect of it. This front pose is way too straight on. She needs to twist it more, make it more of an S frame. This is a very like European looking front pose. I think she's Brazilian, but it's just not quite the right type of shape that they're looking for. But she needs to twist this pose a little bit more. I do think she's slightly tighter here than she was in New York, and I'll show that when I get her to the back. Not a fan of the makeup. It's just she needs to amplify this makeup by a lot. Same thing with her hair. When we turn her to the back, same thing with her hair. It's the same look she had in New York, and I wasn't a fan of it in New York either. It just needs to be better. Just needs to be better in general. This guy was asked. I was so distracted by how ill-fitting her suit was. And wanted to hear your take. Yeah, Chenqi's suit was pretty bad. I'm just going to be honest. It was pretty bad. I can pull up a picture. I'll pull up a picture of Chenqi when we finish out Optimum Bikini. Remind me if I forget. Let's see. So the biggest problem, again, I'm seeing here is posing, you guys, posing. The suit cut is terrible. This is showing way too much. Sorry, that was very blunt, but it is. The suit cut in the back on her, maybe on somebody else it's okay, but on her, it's terrible. It's borderline showing way too much. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to see things I shouldn't see here. She's overarching her back by a lot. Like, you can see all of the skin folds here because she's arching so hard. Don't do that. You need to stand up tall. She's really minimizing her upper body a lot because of the way she's posing here. She just needs to stand up. And she's really like minimizing her glutes too by standing this way. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's just so many things here that if she just fixed her posing would be so much better. I'm not sure why maybe she hasn't been told this or not. I don't know, but this is not a good back pose. And again, with the hair, like, it's just not enough. It's very, very thin. This is what it looked like in New York as well. Like, you could almost see through it. She needs some extensions there or something like that to make it a little bit fuller. But because it looks very dead on the ends. Guys, when it comes to your hair, it just needs to look healthy. You know, it doesn't need to be a specific color. It doesn't need to be a specific, style, anything like that. It just needs to look healthy. And I specifically remember her turning to the back and thinking her hair just looked like it needed to be cut off. So that's what I would do here. I would fix this whole back pose, fix the back of the suit, fix the hair. Her physique is so much better than what she's presenting here. It's so much better. And it's for me, as somebody who works with presentation, it's really, really frustrating to see something like this because there's such simple little tweaks that could make her look 1,000 times better. So I do think her conditioning is a little bit better here than from what we saw in New York, but all the presentation details, if she doesn't get those fixed, she's not going to move up. So that's my 2 cents on that. Presentation, you guys, it's so important. Get into Backstage Pass. I'm telling you, get into Backstage Pass right here. That's what this is all about. We go through all that stuff. Oh, it makes such a huge difference. Okay, so next we have Sierra. So first I want to say props to Sierra because I did read her post about her injuring herself on Tuesday prior to the show, and it just sounded like it was brutal. So for her to be able to get on stage after that is huge. To me, her whole body just looks like it lacks a little pop. Good shape, good frame, all that kind of stuff. But she just looks tired. And this is the first show of the season, so she shouldn't look tired. I'm assuming this is happening because of the stress that her body was under this week with the injury that she had. That's what it looks like to me, right? We're going to talk about her in a minute because she's doing Nevada State this coming weekend, and I'm hoping that she's healed up and she's been able to kind of fill herself back out because, again, to me, this just looks like she's tired. And I'm guessing that's because of all of the stuff that she went through that week with the injury. For those of you that didn't see her post, she hurt her back on Tuesday of peak week. And then she was having a hard time, like in a lot of pain on Thursday and Friday and things like that. So if you go take a look at her Instagram, she's got that up. She details everything there. So that's my 2 cents. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping she brings an improved package to Nevada and pops a little bit more, that kind of thing. I'm guessing that's probably going to be the scenario. But that's what I see here. I see a body that's tired, and that, I mean, rightfully so. This is why you guys that are my posing clients, I've had a bunch of you this week that are in peak week, and I've told every single one of you to go slow and easy this week, because you do not need to get injured peak week. There is nothing you're going to do peak week that is going to change your look for Saturday other than make you worse if you push too hard, you know? So you work too hard to lose it all in that last week. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at her back pose. Like, even when I'm looking at her back pose, to me, it doesn't even look like she's posing in her back pose, which I don't think she could because of the injury. You know what I mean? To me, this looks like she's standing up really tall and trying not to arch back with her lower back, because it probably hurt. I think, like I said, I'm hoping that she's better, so that when she gets into Nevada State, we see a true representation of what she actually looks like. Right, Jess, peak week, the hay is already in the barn. That was my coming to Jesus moment with Jess last night, who is in peak week this week. So you got to just chill, because, like I said, the only thing that you can do is hurt yourself, which is what happened here. And again, I don't want to presume that she was pushing too hard or anything like that. She could have just been doing something normal and something freak accident happened. I don't really know, but I am curious to see what she's going to look like at Nevada State, because I'm hoping that maybe it's a better package for her. Presentation wise, I would still have like to see more hair in the back. Again, another situation with the hair. But if she's in pain, her hair is probably the last thing that she was thinking about. You know what I mean? So I just think that hopefully this weekend will be a little bit better of an outcome for her. And then we have Ashley winning it, which, again, I think we all knew was going to happen. I don't think that was a big surprise to anybody. But I'm going to also say I don't think this was Ashley's best package. To me, she looks a little inflamed. She looks a little watery. Now, again, when it comes to this kind of stuff, Ashley's already qualified. She's got 1 million wins under her belt. So, you know, playing with the way she comes in at different shows is not a big deal, because it doesn't matter if she wins. She doesn't need to win. You know what I mean? She's gonna, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, she's gonna. So you might as well play with some things. But what I see here is I see her suit bottom pressing into her waistline here. I see a lot of inflammation right here. I see a lot of inflammation in her lower abs. To me, it's almost like she's got like a film of water over top of her. It's kind of the same look that I saw at Girl Power, to be honest with you. It looks almost the same as Girl Power. She's a little bit, it's almost like she brought down the body fat a little bit since Girl Power, but she's back to being just a little bit inflamed here. It even looks a little bit inflamed in her shoulders too. That could just be a glaze thing. Glaze can sometimes do that as well, but to me, she looks like she's holding on to some water here. Now, we're going to turn to the back, and there's a few things on the back pose that I think are interesting. Hang on. Wait till you see. Just wait till you see. All right. Okay. Back pose. So first thing is she's really arching a lot. I just clicked through 2 photos to see if maybe this was just an in-between pose. It's not. She's really arching like this. Again, glutes look a little bit inflamed. Hair is too long. It's hitting the top of her glutes and cutting off the top of her glutes. But if the hair was moved, something I want you guys to notice is she is wearing a different cut on her suit bottom on the back. She finally got rid of those T-back bottoms that I hate so much. She finally tried a different cut. And I noticed this when I was watching videos. I was like, oh my God, she doesn't have the T-cut on. Look, this is her in transition. It's no longer that T-cut. She's got more fabric here on the outside. It is not that straight across the top T cut that she always wears. I was like, praise Jesus, hallelujah. She has on a different suit cut bottom. I was like, that has been the bane of my existence with Ashley for so long, and now she has gotten rid of it, and I hope she does not go back to it ever again. That's just my 2 cents here. So you guys know every time that I critique her, it's like, oh, why is she wearing that T-back? Why is she wearing that T-back? This is so much better. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of the actual pose itself. I think she needs to fix this pose. I think she's arching too much. I think she's bending into her knees too much. I think her elbows are up too high. Not sure what she's doing here other than maybe just trying something different. Sometimes you got to try different back poses just to see how they look. But she got rid of the T-back. She got rid of the T-back. So kudos. If nothing else, kudos to that. So she is doing Nevada State. So I'll be curious to see if she sticks with this suit, if she sticks with any of the things that she did at the show, or maybe the show is just an experiment for her. Who knows? But let's see what she does in Nevada State. But praise Jesus, we got rid of the T-back on the suit. We got rid of the T-back. So before we move out of Optimum, let's go ahead and look at Chenqi. So you guys can see the suit and what we're talking about with the suit. This was a really, really not flattering suit at all. Let's go ahead and do, we'll do one of these photos where she's walking, because you can see all of it when she's walking. Okay, here's Chenqi. The only thing that's good about this suit is the color. Every video that I saw, I was afraid she was going to fall out of the bottoms and she was going to fall out of top. This looks like it was made for her baby sister. I don't know what she was thinking here with the suit. I mean, do I need to say anything else here? I mean, I'm literally scared she's going to pop out of this. It's way too low on the bottoms. It's way too small on the top. Debbie Mannion has been very, very vocal about these suits, guys. I don't believe Debbie was at this show. If she was, I think that Chenqi would not have been able to get on stage in this suit. I'm just going to be honest. Now, the back cut is way too high. Again, her hair's hitting the top of her glutes. It's just not a good suit. Just not a good suit. And you can see it even here. It's too high up. It's too high up here. It needs to be pulled down. It needs to actually be pulled up in the front and pulled down in the back. So everything about this suit, just throw it all away. Other than the color. The color was good, but other than the color, throw it all away. That's all I got to say about that. So there, we covered wellness for Optimum. You're welcome. Let's move on to Klash. So Klash was actually very competitive. So again, we're going to go through the top 5. So 5th was Kimber. She's been consistently getting into those first call outs, usually when she's on stage. Yeah, her suit was really, really bad. Yeah, the top specifically, and plus the bottoms were too small. We're talking about Chenqi. In other news, Kimber's suit's actually really pretty. I actually really like the purple on her. She's done red and she's done green. I like the purple. I think she needs to stick with the purple. Still not a huge fan of her hair and makeup. Needs to fix that a little bit better. Upper body is still the issue at the end of the day. This looks a little bit fuller to me than the last show that I saw her in. Lower body looks great. I mean, she does well because her lower body is so good. She just needs to be able to match the upper body with it. This is closer, I think, but what she really, I think what would make a big difference here is if she could grow her back a little bit. She's got such a long torso that because of that long torso, her back just looks narrow, right? So she needs to grow that back a little bit and just get her a little bit wider on top to be able to V out the top and bottom so that she matches top to bottom. But in general, I do actually think this was a better look for her than what she's put on stage recently. And I really actually like the purple on her a lot better than what she's been wearing before. I think the purple was a really good call. Here is, oops, there we go. Here's back pose. No, she's in the middle of one right there. There we go. She's fully posed here. So I will say from the back, the hair is better. This is definitely a better hair look. But again, she's just thin on her upper body, her arms, everything. Like it's just the balance, you know. Lower body looks good. She could probably use a little bit more upper glute, maybe, you know, but really her lower body looks great. It's just, she's got to get her upper body to match. So that's back, shoulders, arms, all of it. She's just got to grow her upper body some more. In general, though, like I said, I think this was a better package for her, for sure. Next, we have Kate Carroll. So Kate, I actually met in Hawaii. She took second to Ashley in Hawaii. I wonder if I had a good front pose of her. Most of these have her like in between. Let me see. Well, I don't see a full-on front pose here. Let's see. Try one more page. Nope. We're gonna have to go with a somewhat posed front pose. We could do this one. So, a few things with her package. A, she's a beautiful girl. B, her suit top's too big. C, her tan is a little bit grayish, greenish, depending on the lighting. It's off. Whatever it is, it's a little off. It looks a little grayish towards up here, that kind of thing. It's gray. Really, really great shape. I think her conditioning was just about right, but I think that her tan was likely the issue here at this show. I think that was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not diminishing, but it was just taking away from her physique, the actual tan itself. I do think, oops, I hit the wrong button. She needs a little bit more glute. You know, when we look at her from the back, she needs to pop more on the upper outer glute. Just get some more density at me with her glutes. Keep her legs right where they are, but build the glutes a little bit more. But again, shape is great. You know, the biggest thing, you know, this is the difference here. Look at her hair. You know, it's clean, it's healthy, it's sitting right at the top of her suit bottoms. That's right where it needs to be. You know what I mean? This is what you want for a hair look. She could probably have a little bit more on the outer part of that, just so she can cover up the scapula a little bit. That's kind of bending in there, you know. But I'm okay with this. I'd like to see, like I said, probably just a touch more, just to cover the back just a little bit more. But she did a good job of this being clean and pretty and healthy looking, right? Big difference here. Where, again, she kind of falls off is on the tan. I really think the tan kind of distracted from her whole physique here, which is unfortunate because, again, she's a really pretty girl and she's got a very, very good shape. I think she just needs to fine-tune those details. Like you can really see it here. Let me show. This is one of the in-between shots. You can really see the tan and how muddy it is, right? It's just really like gray up in here. Like her legs from here down look fine, but it's everything all up in here is all muddy and gray and like greenish. And I don't really know what went wrong with her. Maybe her skin prep, maybe the actual tanner itself, maybe she used expired product. I don't know. But that to me really distracted. Also, like I said, the suit top is too big. When you wear a light colored suit, it can be very, very pretty. But if it's too big, it makes you look disproportionate, right? She doesn't have a big chest by any stretch of the imagination, but because she has such a big suit top on, it made it look like she did when she was next to everybody else, right? So I would change the top out and I would find out what's going on with the tan. Then we have Brittany, who came in third. Let's find a front pose. All right. So let's see. Same thing here with the suit that I was just talking about with Kate. Same thing I said, same thing with her. Because it's a light colored suit, makes you look bigger. So I've mentioned this before with the suit. I'm not a huge fan of the suit on her. This is a better front pose on her. What she needs to get under control more than anything else, we've talked about this before, is her shoulders and her arms. You can see the vascularity in her arms. It's really significant. So she's doing a good job of trying to pose it away and everything like that. But it's just, that's when it comes down to, okay, who's going to take first, second, third? You start looking at the muscularity, just like we were talking about with Alesia. It's just too much muscle, just too much density right there. I really think the rest of her physique here is fine. I think her legs are fine. I think her waistline is fine, all of that. It's just my eyes just keep going to the bicep and the vascularity in the bicep and the shoulder. So somehow she's got to figure out how to get rid of that vascularity. You can really see it right here. You see all the veins in her bicep here. And that just, to me, takes her into a different category, just like we were talking about with Alesia. So if she can figure out how to get rid of this right here, if she can figure out how to tone that down, that's really going to put her whole physique into a much better overall balance. And I think that's really all that she's missing right now, you know. Let's take a look at her back shot. She looks to me a little flat in her back shot. I feel like maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they tried to flatten her physique, probably because of her shoulders. They probably flattened her on purpose. But it just looks a little bit blah with the pop. She doesn't quite have it there, right? We're just a little bit flat from the back. Again, I'm going to use her as an example of a good hairstyle. It's healthy. It's full. She's got enough hair back here. It's sitting at the top of her bikini, so we can see a little bit of her lower back. This is a good hairstyle, right? It's healthy. Really, real simple, guys. Just make it look healthy. That's all. Just make it look healthy. I think this is a good back pose as far as the way she's executing it. I would say she's another one where I would pull the suit bottoms down a little bit in the back and up a little bit in the front. And I think that would sit on her a little bit better. But in general, I think really what's holding her back more than anything else is the shoulder and bicep. And I do think, from what I can see, I don't know for sure, but from what I can see here, it looks like they tried to bring her in a little bit flat just so that she wouldn't pop through the shoulders and stuff like that. That's what it looks like to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. And then we have Yulia in second. So when I was looking at pictures from prejudging and all of that, I had Yulia winning it from the back, and I had Maria winning it from the front. Yulia has definitely amplified her glam look. She was another one where vascularity was an issue, like we were just talking about with Brittany. They were able to fill her out enough to get rid of that vascularity, which is great. However, the issue with filling out is the waistline distends, right? So that was her feedback. Her feedback was she needed to be a little bit tighter through the waistline. She needed to control her waistline a little bit more. So the good thing was it filled her glutes out a lot, filled out her whole frame a lot. She was a lot fuller, a lot rounder here in this particular show than she was in Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. But the bad news is when you do that, that's when your lower ab distension comes into play. So it's finding that balancing act. They did get rid of the vascularity. They got rid of all of that, which was great. She absolutely needed to do that. Now she's finding that balancing act of, can she stay here but pull the waistline in a little bit tighter, right? Again, the glam aspect of her look has amplified by 1,000 over the last couple of shows. So she's doing a great job with that. It's just this last little bit of getting that waistline to come in for her. Let's take a look at her back shot. So I personally felt like she had the best back shot in the show. I felt like she had the most pop. She was the fullest. She was the roundest from the back. And again, look at how she's standing up tall in this back pose, right? She's not overarching. She's not doing anything crazy in this back pose other than just showing the projection of her glutes. She's got really great projection. If you guys remember what she looked like in Pittsburgh, she had really tight hamstring tie-ins. Those are gone. They're nice and soft now. This is a good, really, really good back shot. Like I said, I had her winning from the back. And I have Maria winning from the front because of the waistline. So again, we're going to talk about the hair. Perfect hair look, nice and healthy, nice and curled, but like smooth with the curls. Comes into a nice V down the back, accentuates the V of her back. That's what you want your hair to look like from the back. Okay. And of course, I made her suit. So there's that. The suit's beautiful. I'm just saying. But, you know, I'm a little biased. So I want to say congratulations to Maria, because we've talked about Maria so many times, and she's come so close to winning a show, and she finally did. So I even told Yulia, I said, if anybody had to beat you, I'm glad it was Maria, because she's been the bridesmaid and never the bride. She finally got her Olympic qualification. I think from the front, this is probably the best I've seen her look. Again, nice and flat through that stomach, nice and balanced from top to bottom. Nothing overly anything. You know, she looks good everywhere. She doesn't look great in one spot or another. You see what I'm saying? She's got that fullness in her glute pop. She's got the fullness in her roundness in her shoulders. Nothing is too dense. Nothing is too hard. Nothing is too anything, right? She's right down the middle of everything. That's what you want to see in bikini, right down the middle. Beautiful smile, beautiful look, clean, polished. All of the words that you want to hear, all the words that you want to see when you're talking about a champion of a show in bikini. Back pose. I did think that Yulia's back pose was better, but that's just because she had more projection. This is probably Maria's best back shot I've seen. She definitely filled out her upper outer glutes. She's got great shape from top to bottom. Again, looking at the hair, this is a beautiful hair look. It's healthy. It's put together. She's really well balanced from top to bottom. Really well balanced from top to bottom. She did a very good job of listening to her critiques from the last couple of shows and coming in fuller here. She's not too tight anywhere. Again, just right down the middle on everything. She hit all of the points, right? So I loved Maria's front post. I honestly didn't realize how good. Yeah, Yulia looked great. She absolutely did. I didn't look at the scorecards, so I don't know how many points there were between the two of them. But like I said, I after prejudging, I had Maria from the front, I had Yulia from the back. After finals, same. But, you know, I wasn't there in person, so I didn't see any of that either. And when it comes down to it, I've told you guys this 1,000 times. When it comes down to it, bikini is going to be judged. If it's like everything else is equal, they're going to look at your stomach and they're going to look at your glutes. Those are the two areas you got to have them under control. Got to have them under control. So, you know, one's got to win, one's got to lose. It's just is what it is. It's how that works, right? So congratulations to Maria, though. I'm very, very happy that she finally got her Olympic qualification. She's been knocking at the door for so long. I'm sure she was ecstatic to get that. So that takes care of this past weekend's shows. Now we're going to quickly go through our predictions and stuff for this coming weekend, because most of these girls are competing again. So first we have Nevada State. So I pulled up a couple of names that we haven't talked about yet tonight. One of those being Alex. I wanted to shout her out because I've been working with Alex for the last, 6 weeks or so, something like that, on her posing. So she's going to be bringing a whole new package to the stage, and I'm excited for her. And I just wanted to give her some props going into the show. To keep a lookout for her. She's going to be completely different from what she looked like just at Wasatch. So wanted to mention her. Also wanted to mention Erica. So Erica has done pretty well on the circuit. This past year, she needed to come in a little bit tighter in this San Diego show, from what she told me her feedback was. So as she comes in a little bit tighter, she's going to do pretty well. She has more muscular frame, so she just needs to come in tight enough for it. I do think you need to be watching her for sure. I did work with her on her posing last year as well. I haven't worked with her this year, but I did work with her on her posing last year. So I'm excited to see her get on stage. I want to give her a big shout out too. She did place top 5 twice last year in Legions and in Hawaii. And then I brought up Val because obviously she's placed top 5 in New York. We've been watching her. We've talked about her quite a bit. I'm curious to see what she does to improve her look from New York. You know, a week in between, that kind of thing. The majority of the girls in this particular show are on the more muscular side. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. I mean, clearly our front runner is, again, Ashley. So Ashley is competing again at the show. Sierra is competing again, so it'll be a rematch of them as well. Who else? Is there anybody else in here that we should be paying attention to? Anybody else have a name that we haven't talked about? Go ahead and type it in if we missed somebody. But I think those are your girls to be watching. I'm guessing it's probably going to come down to Ashley and Sierra again. That's what I'm guessing. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, it's anybody's game. And again, I'm curious to see how Sierra looks after a week of like recovering from the injury and all that stuff too. Hopefully her physique will respond pretty well for her. And then we got the big show. So that's Miami. So we had a lot of girls on this show, many of them that I just mentioned already. So Maria's back in it again. Yulia's back in it again. Kate is back in it again. Brittany's back in it again. The other ones I pulled up Jordan Fisher. We have not seen Jordan on stage since the Olympia. Jordan tends to compete in Texas, win a show. She's done a couple of shows outside of Texas and not done as great. So this is her first show out of the gate this year. So I'm curious to see what she's going to look like this year. I'm not going to really go through her photos much because it's been a while since the Olympia, so she could look completely different. She's been to the Olympia twice, so she's definitely one to be watching. I also pulled up Jibin Park. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I believe she's qualified for the Olympia a couple of times. I could be wrong. This was 2024. I thought she was an Olympian. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought for sure she was an Olympian. Maybe not. Oh, no, she was. She won back in 2022. That's what I thought. I thought she placed, she had won a show. So she is a previous Olympian. Phenomenal physique. I remember seeing her at New York last year and just thinking to myself, if she could just get her conditioning in, she would be phenomenal. And she did. She ended up winning and going to the Olympia. So she is an Olympian. So be watching for her too. And then I brought up India. Obviously, we got to watch out for India. Fun fact with India, the only big show that India has not won is the Olympia. She's won every other big show out there. Pittsburgh, she was what, 6th? So she was first call out in Pittsburgh. We didn't really talk about her much because she was outside the top 5. But you know, she just needs to. I wasn't a fan of the purple. I remember saying that. I was not a fan of the purple. She's still a little bit thick to the waistline. She's got to figure that out. And then, you know, just in general, just kind of streamlining her physique a little bit. So I am curious to see how she ends up in this lineup. Let's see if we can get a back shot from Pittsburgh. Here we go. India has ridiculous glute genetics, which is a good thing and a bad thing because she can look too big on stage sometimes too. She looks a little blocky on stage, that kind of thing. But like, if she can just bring this in and make and get a good balance from top to bottom, she's definitely going to be one to be paying attention to this weekend for sure. And she could be a potential winner at the show and just a sleeper here. Because again, she was in the top call out at Pittsburgh. So a lot of people have her, you know, coming in and potentially winning this show, and I could definitely see that. I wouldn't have her winning it. I would have different, but then I wanted to mention Angela too, because Angela is one of our sponsored athletes and she'll be doing this show as well. So I wanted to give her a quick shout out as well. But I think when it comes down to it, I think we're going to see kind of a standoff between India, Maria, and Yulia. And probably going to also have Brittany and Jordan in that too. Jibin, I think we'll get in there too, but she's a little bit on the more petite side when it comes to her actual frame. So I'm curious to see how she's going to actually stack up to the rest of these girls. So I still think she could be a first call out girl, even potentially up in the top 4, top 3. I'm just curious to see how that comes out. how that works out for her. You know, on paper, this would be a really easy show for Maria to win. But as we know, Maria has not been a consistent winner. She's usually, you know, top 2, top 3, that kind of thing. So this could very easily go to somebody who has been knocking on the door. You know, clearly Maria is not unbeatable, even though she's coming off of a win, but that does give her some momentum. So we'll see how this actually plays out. What do you guys think? Who do you have winning this show? Okay. So yeah, so I would love to see it come back down to Maria and Yulia again. I think that's very possible. And I think it could flip-flop again, you know. I think if Kate Carroll fixes a few of her issues, she could be up in that top 3 too. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to go home with this? Put it into the comments. And while we're waiting on that, like I said before, we got Backstage Pass, free registration up there in the corner, and that QR code. It's also in the description box. The link, you can click on that. It's a free registration for the webinar. And you can see how we are going to absolutely change the game when it comes to presentation, posing, coaching, everything. You need to be a part of it. Bottom line, you need to be a part of it. So I also want to give a shout out to, while we're waiting for everybody to put their 2 cents in, our YouTube partners, Prozis. Make sure you use your code cuties10. That link is also in our bio below, description here on YouTube. And then we've got our partners, Liquid Sun Rayz, as well. And again, our code for Liquid Sun Rayz is cuties15. Their link is also in the description box. So if you need anything for tanning, makeup, any of that kind of fun stuff, we got that covered too. Yeah, I'm curious. This is going to be a good show, you guys. Now, I was going to mention this a little bit while everybody's putting their 2 cents in. I think it's funny that we have really small shows when we have Olympia blockers in them, right? You know, I mentioned this before when it comes to Ashley and to Amy. I have no issue with them continuing to compete and continuing to want to win shows. But what I would love to see, as you guys know, is I would love to see the point system come back, because that would give people more reason to get on stage with girls like Ashley and like Amy. Just being real, if I'm a competitor and I'm trying to compete and win a show to go to the Olympia, I know it's going to be harder to beat somebody like Ashley or Amy. So I'm not going to do that show. I'm going to do a different show. Bottom line, you know. But if I know that I can go into a show and I can get points and get compared to 2 of the best athletes in the world, that may make me think a little bit differently. Because I use the example of Emmy. You know, when Emmy came back to Wasatch, nobody knew who she was. Nobody saw her coming. They were like, who is this girl? I have no idea. All of a sudden, she's getting compared to Amy, number 6 in the world. And all of a sudden, everybody knows who Emmy is, right? So it's a good strategic thing for people like her to get next to the Olympia blockers. It's a good strategic thing. But I think you got to give more carrots to the girls, you know, give them points, right? So that way, if they do place well next to an Olympia blocker, they get noticed more, right? So I think that's the happy medium. I'm going to sing this song till I die. Bring the point system back. Bring the point system back. And then I think everybody wins. So I would love to see Yulia take it as well, personally, for selfish reasons, is what it is. You guys know that. What else? Anybody else got their 2 cents they want to put in? I'm proud of myself that I was able to make it through this entire live stream without really coughing a lot. Go me. As long as I don't laugh, I'm pretty good. I can usually control it. So, Yeah, but I don't think the point system takes away from the best of the best being there. I really don't. I think it actually encourages people to try harder, you know? And at the end of the day, like we said before, it only qualifies an extra 3 people. I mean, wouldn't you rather have somebody who's been consistently getting those top 5s get that qualification that way than somebody who won the bumfuck whatever pro with 2 people in it, you know? You still got to qualify those people. You still got to qualify those people that they show up to a show and there's nobody in it, you know? So I think that the point system is definitely worth it. I see that. I think the point system is definitely worth it. So I'm going to sing that song, like I said, till I die. I'm going to sing that song. So this will be the only live feed for this week. We will be doing a Behind the Bikini tomorrow, so be watching out for that. That'll go out tomorrow. Next week, we will be doing a live in-person Behind the Bikini because Jordan will be coming up here for the DC Pro-Am. So we're going to do a podcast together from the host hotel on Thursday. And then for the actual DC Pro-Am, I am on your live stream commentary. So make sure that you get your live streams for the DC Pro-Am because I will be on all day talking all day long. It's a fun time. I actually really enjoy it a lot. But we do commentary for the pros and for the NPC. So if you are a student of the sport, it's a really good opportunity to learn a lot because myself and my co-host Leo, we do these streams every year. And he's an awesome host as well. He's also a judge, a coach, all that kind of stuff too. So he knows what he's talking about. And it's really good. We have really good insight, I think. I think we do a pretty good job. Just pat myself on the back. So other than that, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a long one tonight. And watch Behind the Bikini tomorrow when that comes out. And other than that, we'll get back on live again next week. And let's see what happens this coming weekend. All right? Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And I'm going to let you all go.